Yo, welcome to another episode of the BJJ GOONS podcast. I'm your host, as always, Tim, the Mushmaster Spriggs, and my co-host every week is...
Yo, what's up, everybody? It's Nico Ball, no new Nico. Kind of pissed off Nico because I see Tim got some new gear and he ain't even tell me I had some for me at his house.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am not an asshole and I have not lost my sight. I'm just representing some of our illustrious sponsors for this podcast. All right, we are professional podcasters here on the BJJ GOONS podcast, and thanks to the support from our very special sponsors. I mean, these sunglasses you see right here are from Layout Optics. I mean,
those are
the
nice.
hat, this beautiful hoodie t-shirt combination. This is from the Nick Wooster and Perry Athletics collaboration. Nick Wooster is a world famous fashion designer, and they have decided to support our podcast because we're just so dope. And also, you see the sweatpants here and the socks. I mean, we're dripped down over here. So make sure you guys follow Perry Athletics on Instagram, follow Leo Optics, go to their stores. It's perryathletics.com. I mean, this is where you can get all this fresh gear. I mean, if I'm wearing it, you know it's dope. No one has this type of fashion sense I do in the game. And if you want to get these sunglasses, make sure you check out Leo Optics. Nico, don't worry, your gear's here too, but you got to come through. I got the
Yeah. I do have some sweats from them. I got a pair of sweats that I think are right there, and their hoodie, which I'm using to block the locks in my house because I'm really paranoid about home invasion. But I really do like this hoodie. I just rushing to get on the podcast, so I didn't have time to do any staging and whatnot. But yeah, I'm gonna come through, I think, Monday and try to pick that up. We should do some filming on Monday.
That's what I like to hear. So today's guest is a very special guest. Okay. He is a black belt in Judo. He is a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He is a crew in Muay Thai. He is over all the professional fighting arts. He has a record of 39, 15, and 1. He is not only a great competitor, he is a fantastic coach. I mean, he's trained world champions in jiu-jitsu. He's trained fighters of the year in different MMA promotions. My guest is my good friend, world-class ass kicker, like a real-life John Wick, MUHSIN, the technician, Corrbrery.
What's going on, guys? It's great to be here.
Thanks for coming on the show. We really appreciate you coming on. I respect you as a martial artist entirely. And when shit hits the fan in this country, I'm gonna be hiding out in Savannah, Georgia, with you.
Come through. We already got the zombie response team ready. We're ready to go.
You were getting ready for the apocalypse before it was cool. So I've known you for years.
I mean, so one of my undergraduate degrees is in Homeland Security and Emergency Management. So when you read all the stats about all the crazy shit that happens in the world, and even here, it makes you start to want to have some level of preparation for anything crazy that could happen. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm ready for a basic self-defense situation and a lot more if it happens.
Wow. You said one of your degrees?
Yeah, so my first degree, when I was, just a budding athlete and wanted to be the healthiest, best athlete I could be, was in public health. I just wanted to learn about the body. And then just started competing and decided to go back to school to learn a little bit more about the law and how the world and the political process works. So I got a double major in political science and Homeland Security and Emergency Management. Then I went on to I did a year of law school, and it was a little too much to try to be a competitor. So I transferred to Boston University, got a degree in criminal justice with a focus on strategic management. And now I'm working on my PsyD, my doctorate in psychology with a specialization in sport and performance.
Yo, he said PsyD, and he's talking about a doctorate, y'all. That's refreshing, because I hang out with a lot of ratchet people. So, what you just laid out right there is really dope. And I'm excited to have this conversation. Tim don't know, I'm famous for not knowing people. So clearly, I know you were kind of part of the team, but then I took a look at your Instagram and I've been geeking out. It got me distracted from some serious work I was supposed to be doing.
Well, I mean, I've been around the game for a while, and I'm one of the old school TLI guys. So I was up there getting beat up with, when the room was, Mike Eason was a baby. Like he was a little kid. And I mean, we had Brandon Vera in the room. We had Fowler, all the original guys. And you know, like Lloyd changed my life. Master Lloyd changed my life. So I mean, he's family forever. So I'll be with the team until I die. Till I die.
That's what's up, man. Like I said, you are a world-class martial artist. You've been in the game for a really long time, and you're not just a specialist. Like, you know, you've competed in every single of the most prominent combat arts. So was it difficult for you to bounce between each of them? Because I mean, I know you boxed. I know you did a bunch of stuff.
Well, you know, when I started out when I was a kid, luckily we grew up super poor. We had after school programs or rec center programs where we got dropped off every day. And these programs, which a lot of them aren't around anymore, allowed us to go and learn how to box. There was a small gymnastics program, like a lot of stuff that little hood kids couldn't afford. And I fell in love with boxing. And from there, kind of fell in love with martial arts. So boxing was my first, you know, intro into combat sports. And it kind of grew from there. I just stuck with it wherever I moved. And eventually saw mixed martial arts, and I was like, I'm going to do that one day, and figured out how to do it. And, you know, back in the day, the goal was, when I started, I wanted to be the best at everything. I didn't want somebody to be able to take me down and submit me. I didn't want somebody to just be able to stop my takedown and beat me up on the feet. So I felt like I needed to be strong everywhere. I had a striking background, so I knew I had to become a good grappler. So I started out in Judo, and eventually Master Lloyd recruited me. I just beat a couple good guys while training just Judo. I wasn't training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at all. You know, I beat Marcos Avalon. Me and Marcos went back and forth for a long time. That tells you how old I am. We were on the circuit together, and we were going back and forth. And, you know, I went up and had a really good tournament in the New Jersey area. And Master Lloyd reached out through my best friend, Najib, ended up flying me up to Maryland and beat the brakes off me. Like, it's the best story ever, my first intro to Master Lloyd, right? So I get off the plane. This is before 9/11, so he's, like, waiting near the gate. And he's on crutches, right? So he's crutching his way through the airport. We get back to his Range Rover at the time, and he's like, so do you want to go back to gym and train? Or you want to get something to eat or something? And I was like, well, I figured there were people at the gym because he's on crutches. I'm like, let's go to the gym, let's go train. And so we get to the gym, and it's just me and him. He crutches his way to the back, puts a t-shirt and gi pants on, and listen, I had just beat a guy that was beating everybody, right? Ryan Cleota, he was an Ithaca wrestler, like super, super good. And I just triangled him in a tournament. And so I'm like, man, I was feeling myself a little bit, thought I was good. Man, he beat like for literally an hour, just balled me up and made me feel like I'd never trained before. And I knew right then that this was the team I was going to be with. And then once he started talking and explaining to me how it was more than just, you know, drilling and fighting, and that your mind had to be part of what you're doing, just the mental process of competing and training and being the best, I knew I was in the right spot. So I've been with him ever since.
So you trained with Master Lloyd in the grappling aspect, but you also trained under Manu Into. Now, I might be biased because as a member of the team, we have a very close connection with him. But doing my research, because I just started doing a little bit of kickboxing, Manu is one of the greatest competitors in Muay Thai, pure Muay Thai, just striking.
People have no idea, man. They have no idea. Manu was in Thailand during the golden era, beating some of the best Thais in the world. And he did something that a lot of people don't do. Most Westerners, even me, when I fought in Thailand, the few times I fought in Thailand, my boxing's really good. So I know they're great kickers, so I'm trying to knock them out with hands if I can. Manu went over there and was knocking out Thais with both legs. And usually you don't out-kick a Thai, and he out-kicked Thais. And he's well respected. I go to Thailand now and tell people I train Manu, and they're like, oh, big black guy, okay, yeah. They know Manu now. And he was there like during the golden era with Ramon Deckers, with Danny Bill. Danny Bill, I've trained with Danny Bill as well. Like, those guys were Muay Thai. It's there'll never be another era like that.
Wow. And you train, how did you get in touch with them? Like, you find the best guys somehow.
So,
and how did you find Manu?
So I believe thoroughly in the law of attraction, right? So I had already started my MMA career, and so I got with Manu before I got with Master Lloyd. I started my MMA career. I was, doing some good things, but there were some things I needed to fix. I needed to get better at. Najib lived in Atlanta and was training at Alliance. Manu was teaching out of Alliance at the time. And so he said, listen, I wanna improve your striking. I'm gonna introduce you to Manu, and we're gonna go from there to make you better. And once I met Manu, he's like my dad now. Like he's one of the most important people in my life, man. Like I just like sitting and listening to him talk. He's so knowledgeable. He has so much, everything he says, man. And he's one of those guys, he's an African brother. And if he has a bad dream about you, he won't mess with you anymore. You know what I'm saying? He's one of those guys. And so luckily he's never had a bad dream about me. We're still family, and I've been with him longer than probably anybody on the team.
That's awesome. That's dope.
That's awesome. Since you've done all these martial arts, I get this question all the time, and I'm going to ask you because you're one of the most well-rounded martial artists in the world. You've competed in every major martial art. Do you consider a jiu-jitsu match to be a real fight?
No. And I don't say that. Man, listen, it's a athletic event. It's a sporting event. Okay. And if you can't elbow somebody in the face or bite them, or I'm saying, like there's just a different goal. You know what I'm saying? Like in a real fight, like you see, very few people are successful running out and pulling guard in MMA, right? It's just not, people understand systems, they understand where to keep their hands, and can create enough ground and pound or problems for the guy on bottom that it's not a good strategy to be on bottom, right? So it's not that I respect it and I love jiu-jitsu. I love competing in jiu-jitsu, and it's a whole different animal, but it's a part of fighting. Just like, listen, boxing by itself, we can't consider that straight fighting. You know what I'm saying? Because if somebody takes a boxer down, what can he do? It's just a piece of it. Every aspect, every range is another piece of combatives, And that was my goal. I wanted to be a real martial artist. So I wanted to understand how to fight on my feet, how to fight on the ground if it got taken there, how to wrestle, how to anti-wrestle. I needed to know these things to really call myself a martial artist.
Go ahead, Nico. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Do you see like a lot of martial artists in MMA, or is it more like people kind of just doing the hype thing and trying to like bunch everything together, train, and get in the cage?
So you'll notice the guys that are martial artists are your champions. The guys that are the best in the world, they've specialized and they've perfected, and they understand that if I want to be great, so me and Tim were talking earlier about strikers in mixed martial arts, right? So right now I think we're really getting a chance to see good striking in mixed martial arts, because for years, if a striker made that jump over to MMA, they didn't have enough ground game, they didn't have enough anti-wrestling to really get off and show their striking ability. Now, they switch over, they learn how to wrestle, they learn how to grapple. So now you can see striking. Before, a K1 guy jumped into Pride and he got taken down and ground and pounded, you never got a chance to see him kick or punch, right? Now we're actually getting a chance to see those guys utilize their skill because they understand the other parts of the game.
Do you see that strikers might take over the sport, or do you think that we can still have Khabibs out there? Because I'm a grappler, but realistically speaking, like if you're a grappler and you don't really take time to learn striking, eventually you'll get figured out. And it's like takedowns in jiu-jitsu. If there was a penalty for pulling guard and you had to stand up, a guy with good wrestling or judo would always win. And I kind of look at it the same way in MMA. Like if you can't touch my legs.
So here's the thing. I think that any elite athlete, anybody that knows how to train and win and dedicate himself to the process can be great. So if you took a world-class Taekwondo guy, like world-class, the best in the world ever, and you said, okay, we're going to put you with the best coaches and we're going to make you a mixed martial artist, he could be a world champion because he knows the process. He knows what he needs to do to be great. So he's not going to cut corners. He's not going to bullshit. Like, being a champion is a lot more than technique. You got guys that are champions that may not be as technically sound as some of the best jiu-jitsu guys in the world, but they understand the process, they understand the work, and they understand what they need to do to be the best in the world. I think, and that's why I think you saw Israel Adesanya jump up, move so quickly in mixed martial arts, because he knows what it takes to be a champion. He knows all the tools he needs, and he knows the mindset he's got to have to get in there and win. Now it's just a matter of giving him all the tools to make sure he's ready for this level of mixed martial arts, and they did it. So I think you can take any top-level wrestler, any top-level judoka, anybody that knows how to fight at that level and get to that level. I think if he gets with the right coaches, he can be great. I think it's always going to be that.
You know, typically I always ask this: how do you balance being a coach and an athlete? And now I want to ask you something different, because Nico said she saw your Instagram and she went super she's a huge fan now, right? How do you balance being socially active, being an activist, being an educated Black man, as you like to say on social media, and be a coach and athlete?
It's hard, but at the same time, it's refreshing, because I'm very public about the way I feel. I'm never gonna bite my tongue. It's just not me. And so people know who I am, and they know how I feel. So the great thing about that is this is rooted out all the bullshit at my gym. I'm not going to get any rednecks coming to my gym like, hey, I want to sign up. I'm racist, but hey, I want to learn this, because they know where I stand on that shit, and they don't want to be around me. So it kind of weeds them right out, and it's great. We have a packed gym of brilliant people, open-minded people, people that want to get along and want to learn. And, man, if you come to my mat, it is the most diverse mat on the planet. You go to some jiu-jitsu schools, and, man, I'm telling you, TLI and my gym are about the only ones. You go in, there might be one Black guy, and then it's the rest Brazilians and white guys, right? My mat is full of everybody. Everybody, And I think it's because of, my outspokenness. It attracts people with a similar outlook to my gym. And as far as, I'm not going to lie, I think some of my outspokenness hurt my career. I never fought in the UFC. I fought in every other major organization, but never fought in the UFC. I was on the cusp a couple times, really close, about to make it happen. But I think, I don't think I would have been a good fit there anyways, because I would have got myself in trouble on the mic. And, I have no problem with that, because to me, my goals, and I feel like I accomplished everything in mixed martial arts that I was looking to accomplish, and my soul was more important than saying I fought in the UFC, so got to be who I am.
Nico,
Yeah.
I know you were very much a fan of his social media.
All right, so one thing that we noticed, on top of that I noticed, I guess, on top of the political activism, is that, you have a lot of gun posts and posts about the Second Amendment.
I think it's important, and I think we're in a weird place right now. We have two of the worst candidates in political history running for office right now. Two candidates that have hurt Black and brown people really bad. And people don't understand Biden's history. Biden, did way, the Black community is in shambles because of Biden's policies, things that he wrote, right? But it's hard for me to understand why somebody, and again, I'll say this out front, I'm not a Republican. I hate Donald Trump. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not a fan of Biden and a lot of the people on the other side. I'm somewhere in the middle of those two, right? Because the Second Amendment is important to me, right? Because if they said tomorrow, hey, everybody that's a legal gun owner, we're taking ARs. We're going to take all your high-capacity mags. We're going to leave you with revolvers, maybe. That's it. Or we might just take all the guns. Do you think that the white supremacists are going to get rid of their guns? Do you think right now Homeland Security has just said that the biggest terror threat in America is right-wing terrorism that want to hurt people like me? I'm Black, I'm Muslim, I've got a son named Zafir Muhajid, so they're not going to get rid of their weapons. So why would you leave me disarmed not to be able to protect me and my family? Because the average response time for a police officer is about 15 minutes, right? A lot can happen in 15 minutes, right? So I think I should have the right to protect myself, just like any criminal that's going to have maybe try to harm me. I want to be better armed than him, you know, and I want my wife to be better armed. I want my son to learn how to shoot right now. You know, he's 14 years old. And he goes to the range with me all the time. But if somebody runs in the house and tries to hurt him, I don't want him to depend on cops to get there. I want him to be able to protect himself. Because at the end of the day, him being here is more important than any repercussions he's going to have to face from, you know, addressing a threat. So that's just me.
So how long have you been a gun owner? Like, what age did you learn to either use or legally use a gun?
So what's great is, you know, I've been in the South most of my life. My dad was always a gun owner. My mom's family, gun owners. I used to spend the summer. So I was a city kid that spent summers in Alabama. So we go in the backyard. I have right now tons of acreage, so much acreage in Alabama that I can walk out on the back porch and start shooting, and I have no neighbors. So I can just set up targets and start shooting if I want. And so I spent every summer there, learning how to shoot, learning gun safety, you know, and I fell in love with shooting as a kid, you know, and always knew that as an adult, right, you know, I think as soon as I got old enough to purchase a firearm, I purchased a firearm, you know. And I you know, I carry legally. I have concealed carry. I do everything I'm supposed to do. But again, I would rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it, you know. And there are a lot of dumb people out there, you know. And I don't want me, my family, or anybody to get hurt because I wasn't prepared.
Very true. So you seem to also like be very active, like an advocate for like gun rights. And I know there's like associations, like a National Association for Black Gun Owners. Are you also like, do you participate in these kind of organizations? Because one thing I really kind of wanted to make clear, talk about on this podcast is like, you know, like I'm also going through the process of getting my concealed carry in DC, and it's like been very difficult, and I've paid like almost $1,000, and nobody's like, and I'm like 2 hours away from getting certified, and I have no idea what the laws are in DC. And there's small things, like I live in DC, so it's DC, Virginia, and Maryland. It's very hard for me to get a license in Maryland, but it's very easy for me to just like be in Maryland accidentally driving through DC.
And that's the crazy thing. Right?
Over with a concealed carry, and it's now like a felony.
For sure, 100%.
Things that I didn't know, like I can take my gun in a case to the gun range in Virginia, but to take it to the gun range in Maryland, both my gun and my ammo need to be locked in cases and separate. They can't just be in a gun case in my trunk. Like that's a felony.
So what's the point of having a concealed carry if I gotta have my ammo over here? If I have to have, listen,
but that's without the concealed carry, I believe. So now if I have my concealed carry, I'm good. But if I just had like a registered gun in Virginia for say, and was going up to like shoot with a friend in Maryland, I've now like, you know, maybe had some issues.
No, for sure.
You know?
And that's why I will probably never leave the South. As backwards as some of it is back here, we still have those freedoms, and I can't see those freedoms going anywhere. You know, in Georgia, like, first of all, if I get a Florida concealed carry, which my concealed carry just lapsed, like it just expired. So instead of getting the Georgia concealed, I'm applying now for the Florida concealed carry, which is good in 43 states. So I have reciprocity in 43 different states because of, you know, they have a pretty strict process to go through and get it. But I can carry in Florida, Georgia, pretty much everywhere around me. I have no problem carrying and never have to worry about, okay, if I drive over this state line, am I going to go to jail? You know, so
there are a few states, correct, that will give you that liberty. I thought like Utah might have been one of them. Like if you get it, it will hit like a lot.
For sure. So Florida and Utah are the best two.
Yeah. So my question for you is like, can you get a Florida license by a certified instructor in Atlanta, or do you have to go to Florida?
As long as you go through, it's an NRA certification that you have to do. And I've done it multiple times. I think I may have to do one more because the last one I did may have lapsed already. But no, and you don't have to be a resident of Florida either. So you can get You can do everything via mail. You do the basic course, which we're going to have a course here in Savannah. So maybe you guys come up and train. We'll go shooting. We do the course and get it all set up from there, you know. But we're going to do a course here at the gym soon.
It was just such a pain in the ass having to get the range times and like have to get the background check. And another thing too is for everyone that's listening, in these states that you're allowed to have medical marijuana, you can't have the card and get your handgun license.
Yep.
It's just so crazy. Like,
which is insane, but you can go drink all the beer, all the wine, all the whiskey you want to drink it and walk around with a gun. You can some places here in Georgia, you can walk into a bar which you can still carry. You know what I'm saying? And
but
drink all night.
Or like, can you consume alcohol? Because would that not render it illegal, or is it more very much more liberal?
You probably shouldn't, but I mean, I'm sure people do. You know.
So like another question, we'd be like in this process of like getting like, are you very much so like, did you really learn about the laws like through the actual processes, or did you have to do it yourself?
What's really crazy about Georgia is Georgia's wide open. Like I can carry with one in a hole. Like I don't have to have any licensing whatsoever to carry in my car, right? I only have to have a concealed carry permit or license to have it on my person with me at all times, right? So in Georgia, I can go buy a firearm today, get it today, and which is the way it should be. And I immediately can keep it in my car. I can carry it from my car to my work. I can carry it from my car to my house. I just can't just walk around with it concealed on my person. Now, once I get concealed carry, which the process really, you just have to go get fingerprinted, do a background check, and that's it. Like it's not a difficult process here.
You didn't have to apply or nothing. You didn't have to apply. You just went there and they just said it's okay.
Well, I mean, yeah, you fill out paperwork, get your fingerprints, turn that in, and within 2 weeks you've got it. It's quick.
They're savages.
Go through that just to be allowed to buy a handgun in Maryland.
Do you see, like, Maryland is hard. Maryland is extremely hard. I think
I know Master Lloyd has this concealed carry. He told me that it was one of the most costly processes he's ever done.
Costly. I didn't think about costly. Yeah. I was under the impression that you could only get a concealed carry in Maryland if you had reasonable belief that your life was threatened. Mm-hmm. But they told me that I might potentially be able to apply under the basis that I'm a business owner. I have 2 businesses and I messed up. Sure. Had I known about this, had I been hip to the laws, and that's why I think this episode is really important, because it's important to know the laws. Definitely. I've gone through this whole process and I have not learned what I need to know, I feel, to safely have my gun and use it and not get caught up legally. But
just come to the South, you're good.
Yeah, but then they told me, like, had I applied and like incorporated my business in Maryland, it might have been easier, but I might be able to qualify in Maryland under the fact that I have a business and I carry like donations. I do donations at different gyms, and because I have a production company, so the fact that I have a lot of like, filming equipment.
Exactly.
Independent of a business, like really my main issue is like training at TLI goes to like 11 o'clock at night, and we have like some crackheads sleeping in our stairwells, and I drive from TLI back to Southeast DC. I got the Marine Barracks. Oh, I shouldn't have said that.
Quit telling me where you live.
But the projects, the other
they're not coming through the Southeast
on the other side, and the projects is a lot closer to the other people. So it's like, for me, really, like, to me, like a concealed carry, like getting home from the gym in Maryland back to DC is like probably one of like the biggest things, like my concerns, and that's legally not what would qualify me for having it.
Let me tell you the problem. This is why I can never live in like DC or New York or California or anywhere that makes it difficult for you to protect yourself. Why should it be that hard for you to feel safe? We know that violent crime is skyrocketed all around the country. Right? We know these things. So why should it be so hard for you to protect yourself? You're a law-abiding. You don't have any felonies. You hadn't done anything wrong. Why should they put you through the ringer just to have a right that is outlined? It is the Second Amendment in the document that is supposed to outline what we can do in this country. It's the Second Amendment, right? Right after free speech and freedom of religion, the right to carry a firearm. right?
Mhm.
Why is it so hard in some states for you just to be able to protect yourself? That's insane to me. It's absolutely insane. Especially right now when you think of the current state of America, the hate for black and brown people right now. I mean, we're walking around with dreads, man. Like, I got tattoos down my, like, they hate me, you know? And I'll tell you something crazy, right? Completely different tangent, but just talking about being black and brown in America. There was a span of 3 months where I got pulled over 8 times in a span of 3 months. In that 3-month period, I got 1 ticket, and that ticket was thrown out. Every other time now, I was pulled out of my car. One time I was handcuffed. If they handcuff you, they're supposed to take you to jail. Handcuffed and released, right? I was pulled out of my car, searched illegally after I said I do not consent to searches. Listen, I'm a boring ass dude. I don't smoke weed. I don't do anything. I'm super boring. But the fact that in a matter of 3 months, I was pulled over and profiled 8 times just lets you know the difference in how I navigate America and how a blonde-haired, blue-eyed person navigates it. It's different, you know? So when you think about that and think about the biases that are with the people that are supposed to be protecting us, think about the average person walking around on the street that hates us, you know? So we should be able to protect ourselves. It shouldn't even be a question. We shouldn't have to fight for the right to get something that's outlined in the documents that founded this country. You know, it's crazy to me.
Speaking of the discrimination part, when I went to buy my first firearm, I got like the 3rd degree.
Of course you did.
Of course we do, right? Like they acted like I was on the phone with a friend asking him just talking on the phone about different stuff, my accessories I may need and whatnot. And this guy is at the counter and he says, if you're buying a gun for someone else, that's a felony. I'm like, hey man, what are you talking about? Just ring me up and shut the fuck up. Like, you're going through the dirty.
And so these are never questions that would have been asked to Billy or Tyler. You know what I'm saying?
No. But I was gonna add on to that. We seen the video. I think it was Philando Castile. It's so many people that die from this bullshit, police brutality. He was a legal gun owner. So are you freaked out at all? Or have you ever faced discrimination by having your gun on your person or having it in your car?
When it's in my car, so here's the difference, right? And it's sad that I have to think about this because one of my, Chase, right? Chase, yes. One of my best friends in the world, white military dude, but he is as much of a gun nut as I am. That cat will get in his car. His gun stays holstered here the whole time. If he gets pulled over, he's like, hey, I got a firearm. Ain't never had a problem. Never. Listen, when I get in the car, I have a middle console. I put my gun in the console. Like, I make sure it's out of, like, I can't just reach it and they can't see it. You know what I'm saying? And if I get pulled over and say, I have a legal firearm in the car, get out of the car. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole different reaction, right? But it's sad that I have to do things to be ahead of those problems, right? Of course, I would never get in the car, even if I have, like right now, again, my concealed carry is expired. I'm about to renew it. But even if my concealed carry was up to date and it was perfectly legal for me to have it right here, I wouldn't do that in the car. I just wouldn't, because I know I don't want that interaction.
I think that's an important question that, like, probably a concern that a lot of people have. Do you always disclose if you get pulled over that you have it? Because I think some people would feel safer not, but also be worried if they got searched.
Definitely. So here's the thing. I have and I haven't, right? So one time, I'll tell you a crazy story, right? I just rented a car because we were about to drive to weigh-ins. We had guys, matter of fact, Chase was cutting weight and a couple other guys were cutting weight at my gym. And I'm driving back to the gym. I'm driving down the road, my gym's on, and I see a cop. I'm not speeding. I know there are always cops back there. So I'm taking my time. He gets behind me, follows me all the way down, turns into my gym with me, cuts his lights on. I'm like, can I ask you why you pulled me over? I know I wasn't speeding. It's like, yeah, your tint's too dark. I was like, word? I was like, this is a rental car. He's like, oh, okay, well, just give me your license and registration. We'll get you out of here. Come to find out, I'd gone to Thailand earlier that year. I got a ticket before I went to Thailand, didn't show up to court. suspended my license. So it was for a seatbelt ticket too. Something simple, something super simple. But I had a suspended license. So what they usually do when you have a suspended license is they say, here is your ticket, show up to court, park the car, you can't drive, make somebody come get it. No, they decided they were going to take me to jail that day. But so they decided they were going to take me to jail, cuffed me, put me in the back of the car in the parking lot of my gym, right? Said, can we search the car? I was like, no, I don't consent to searches. They shined a flashlight in. They found a probiotic that I had just dropped on the ground. And they said, that's reasonable suspicion. It's not in a pill case. That could be a drug. And they tossed my car. They found my gun in the glove box. And they're like, why didn't you tell us about this? I said, because I'm not legal. I have a law degree, right? I'm like, I'm not legally obligated to tell you about my legally purchased firearm that's in my glove box where it's supposed to be.
I think it's illegal to have your gun in the passenger glove box in DC, but again, I don't know.
It's not here. You can, man, I can have it in my lap here. It's not illegal.
It's important to know your laws, y'all, in situations like he's explaining now. Sorry to interrupt, but keep going.
So he's holding my gun like this. Why didn't you tell me about it? I'm like, because I'm not legally obligated to.
With no trigger discipline?
No, he's holding it by the trigger. I think he'd already taken the mag out.
Oh.
It's still, you don't hold it by the trigger. I don't fucking care if the mag's in or
the
not.
chamber,
You don't
bro.
do that. You don't
these cats, most cops are undertrained. And we'll talk about that in a second as well. Yeah, but so he says, why didn't you tell me about it? I'm like, I'm not legally obligated. He's like, no, but it's common courtesy. I'm like, it's common courtesy not to arrest me out in front of my gym when you don't have to, but you're doing it. Right? I went to jail, like my bail was paid before I got there, right? I still spent 9 hours before they processed me out, right? And I come to find out later, the reason I spent 9 hours, I think they get paid for every 8 or 9 hours somebody is in custody there. So the state pays them for every person that they've locked up for every 9 hours they're there. So if you ever notice, if you get, like, I don't know if y'all, I've been locked up a couple times on dumb shit like that, but literally they will hold you for a seatbelt ticket or for a suspended license for over 9 hours every time you get arrested, just for some bullshit. But back to training. So we talk about training in Georgia. To be a police officer, you don't need anything but a GED. You don't even need your high school diploma, right? So if you have a GED and you're not a felon, you can apply to be a police officer. Once you get hired, you get 435 hours of training. And to put that into perspective, to be a hairdresser, I have to do 1,500 hours of training, and I have to do an additional 1,000 hours of internship before I can fucking cut hair, right? But to be a cop, 435 hours, they give you a badge and a gun, they throw you with a training officer, and now you can shoot somebody in the face. Do you think somebody knows my rights after 435 hours?
No.
A lawyer has 4 years of undergrad, an additional 3 to 4 years of graduate school. He has to pass the hardest test in the fucking world to argue the law. But this asshole has the right to shoot me with 435 hours of training.
Do you think that pay structure, as far as keeping you locked out for a certain amount of hours, and the police officer or overseer system is just an extension of slavery?
Oh, well, we can get to that. That's a whole nother conversation.
Sorry, my sociology degree is kicking in, and you got me all excited.
100%. If you've studied our prison system right now, and I just posted about this, right now we have more African Americans imprisoned being used as cheap labor than we had enslaved at the height of slavery. So there are more Africans being used for free, like cheap labor now, than there was when slavery was at its peak, okay? Our entire justice system is a for-profit system. Everything they do. Do cops stop murders in progress? Do they stop home invasions? They never stop that shit. Cops, their entire job is to, and the Supreme Court recently ruled this, right? Their job is not to protect and serve. Their job is to uphold the laws of the state. It has nothing to do with your safety, right? Their job is to pull you over when your tags expire for some bullshit, to pull you over when you're going 10 over, to pull you over when your tail lights out so they can collect money for the state. Now, I know you probably have cops that are viewers right now that are getting pissed off, so I don't care. It's truth. If you tell me it's not true, you don't understand what you're taking part in.
Whoa.
No, that is very true. I mean, it's a system. Like, you can't be one good person in the system and then just get mad because you want to be like, I have ethics, but you participate.
It doesn't matter. You're in a corrupt system. So listen, I hear this, it's just one bad apple, just two bad apples, bullshit a lot, right? But if you are a police officer that works in the system and sees somebody doing something, see somebody profiling, see somebody doing anything that they're not supposed to be doing, and you don't turn them in, you don't do your best to get them fired, then you are a fucking bad cop. I don't care if you're doing it. If you're allowing it to happen around you, you're part of the problem, right? So, I mean, at this point, there needs to be a complete overhaul of how we, perform what is called the justice system. It's all wrong. It's not working, right? And listen, Biden's 94 crime bill didn't make it better. Biden militarized the police. Biden made it to where Black and brown areas were over-policed now. Biden gave mandatory minimums for drug crimes. Biden sparked this whole stop and frisk idea because they wanted to get these easy lockups, right? If a kid, listen, do you understand? All right, so in my area, we've got like the landings is where all the rich people live, super wealthy, right? More drugs go through the landings than you'll ever see in the hood. And it's designer drugs, good shit, right? That's probably
they got money for the good shit. They got money for it.
But they understand, a cop understands, if they pull little Timmy over in his BMW, his dad is going to call downtown to somebody he knows. He's going to get the best lawyer ever and ain't shit going to stick. Now, let's go to the hood, right? He pulls Raheem over with an ounce in his pocket. He knows that felony charge is going to stick. He knows it's going to stick. So we're the low-hanging fruit, right? So what's going to happen is he's going to bring them in. They can't afford a lawyer, so they're going to get a public defender. The public defender is going to come out and be like, yo, these are your options. If you want to get out right now, we can get you out right now, but you're going to be on the books for this long. You're a felon now. You can't vote anymore. Can never own a firearm. Your life is fucked. You'll never get a good job. Like, you're done. But somebody would rather take that plea than, one, pay a lawyer they can't afford, or two, spend time in jail, right? Everybody wants to get out. So, I mean, and then now you're in that system. As soon as you do one thing wrong, you can't get a job. What are you going to do? You're going to sell weed again. Right? Now you got your second strike. Go back in the system. You've broken your parole rules. And now you're gonna do full felony time now. You know what I'm saying? And they've got you. They're making money off you. You know, this entire process is, and they don't do it anywhere else. Like, you go to Sweden, you get arrested. They are trying to reform you. They're gonna help you get a skill. They're going to make sure when you get out that you can become a contributing member of society. Here, when you get out, you can't become a contributing member of society. Felony stops that from happening. You can't get student loans now. You can't do anything to improve your life.
Exactly. Somebody was asking me about DJ, who's living in Thailand now, and they're like, is he ever coming back? And I was like, probably not,
Listen, it's hard. I was there in camp. He came out, so I was at Fairtex before he was. He came out, helped me with my camp, got the gig out there. But I put a post up while I was out there. I said, it's crazy. I got up this morning, I left, I did something I love, I trained my ass off. Then I went to a mall. I never had somebody look at me. I didn't get followed by cops. I didn't have a fear that I was gonna get pulled over and shot. Like, I actually could breathe today with no stress of the fucking world, of the environment that I live in, And you hear this all the time. We're sold this bad marketing scheme. And listen, I love America. I love what is built here. I love the beauty that has come out of this struggle here. But to lie and say that there aren't places that we can go and have a better standard of living and be happier, be healthier, and not die from stressful related cause. You wonder why African American, like our cousins in Africa, they have like little to no hypertension. Blood pressure is not a problem in Africa. Blood pressure is something that is endemic to African Americans here, right? Stress is one of the leading causes of high blood pressure. Then all the other health factors from lack of health care and all the other bullshit. But, you know, you can go somewhere else and you don't have that stress, you know? So it's hard. I've traveled all over the world, man. I've been some beautiful places. And every time it's time to come home, man, I'm like, yo, why? Why?
And that's a sad reality that unfortunately a lot of people don't understand, as they never have the opportunity to leave the systemic racism. But
yeah, I mean, and it's hard for anybody that doesn't experience it, that doesn't have to navigate this world like you and I and Tim and DJ and other African Americans have to navigate America. It's hard for them to understand or even relate to what we're talking about. They don't believe us. They don't believe me. So listen, I've owned gyms for a while. I was in Hilton Head, South Carolina, and found another spot that we liked. We wanted to move to a higher traffic area. We knew that the place was zoned for what I wanted to do. So I go down to the town of Hilton Head, and I'm like showing my business plan. I'm like trying to get approved so we can go ahead and move in and, you know, sign the lease. And they denied me on the spot. So, you know, I sat back and it bugged me. So about 2 weeks later, I send blonde-haired, green-eyed girl in, same business plan, everything, approved on the spot. These are the kind of things that they don't have to deal with, right? We left Hilton Head. I've been in Savannah ever since. Savannah's 63% Black, never had any problems. It's been amazing here. But you're not going to hit those roadblocks. And a lot of people aren't going to try to move forward after running into those roadblocks. They think, oh, this maybe isn't for me, I'll just go get a job. And now they can't build any real wealth, right? Mm-hmm. It is it's a different path for us.
It is very different. Killer Mike was talking about that. He's a rapper, and he recently started a new Black-owned online bank. And he was doing an interview on the Breakfast Club, and he was talking about that idea of like small Black businesses and trying to take a business plan for example, a barber shop to a bank. And only a Black banker is going to understand that, you know, that like a barber shop in a Black community isn't necessarily just for cutting hair. It's really like kind of a commercial enterprise of a community where they're selling.
Listen, it's church, man. It's where everything happens.
Mm-hmm.
Word.
And like he made the point, he's like, oh, like, you know, that like no white bank is going to understand that business plan and give them an opportunity. Mm-hmm. So those are the people that are running up in your house with them AKs, son.
Yeah. I mean, but I don't know, man. The more I ponder and the more educated I get, the more I try to understand what we can do to change this thing. And, you know, I completely switched gears because what's funny is, you know, I went to Boston University to get my master's in criminal justice thinking I was going to focus on law. But what people don't understand is about half of criminal justice is psychology. And it's the psychology of why people do what they do. You know, victims, criminals, what leads them to this life. So I fell in love with psychology. So now I'm studying why people are in certain positions, why we gravitate to certain things. And what people don't understand is that trauma it changes your DNA, right? So I was just talking to my professor about, you know, a field of study, something I may want to research. African Americans in America had 250 plus years of slavery, give or take, depending on when you decide the start date is, right? After slavery ended, we had black codes, Jim Crow, redlining, racist housing policy, the war on drugs. So it's been nonstop trauma. And that trauma changes us at a DNA level. Epigenetics have shown, they did a study of mice where they had mice in a cage and they would spray a scent. And when they sprayed that scent, they would shock the mouse. Spray that scent, shock the mouse, right? Until the mouse got an aversion to that smell. So they expected that. What they didn't expect was their children to be born with that same aversion. They smell the smell, they panic. their grandchildren born with that same aversion. They smell the smell, they panic. And it kept going for generations. So we know that we are a conglomerate of what our ancestors experienced, right? It is in us down to a DNA level. Now, I think that has made us probably the most resilient people on the planet. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, we are our ancestors, and they're going to be projected through us. Their experiences going to be projected through us. So I try to, I have hopes that with this field of study that I can maybe help outline what we need to do is to grow and get out of the rut we're in, and you add that to the criminal justice side of things, and maybe we can come up with a good plan. Because right now, it's bad. Every metric, we're behind. Every metric. We got work to do, man.
Yeah, we do. MUHSIN, I just have a couple more questions. Did you see, speaking of work to do, did you see that guy at Pam's with the Nazi swastika tattoo?
Did you send me the picture? Because I didn't.
I did not. Oh, my goodness. So while we're talking.
Nobody ran up on it?
Apparently not. No one ran up on
why nobody ran up on him? Nobody DM'd me about this particular situation, but nobody runs up on people, because I'll get DMs like, I saw this Nazi swastika tattoo. I don't know what I should do about it, or I don't think I should say anything because he's a popular dude. And it's like, when you even have to question that, like.
Say that again. Someone else has say that one more time.
No, but people often come to me, not with this swastika, but with just stuff that is like obviously not okay. And they'll be like, I don't think I should say anything, or I don't know what to do. Or it's like, you shouldn't have to question or come to somebody else to be like, I saw something that's fucked up. Do I really need to get away from this?
So,
and it's because
common sense.
They're so safe in the stance that they take.
I'm not safe. I'll be the angry black man. Fuck him. You know what I'm saying?
That's why I get these DMs, because I'll tell them how it is. Like, I would have gone up to his face. That shit is not going to
be around me, and I'm gonna let you know it's not okay. And if it goes further than that, it goes further than that. But the problem, and Tim, I know you've probably felt this as well. You've traveled as much as I have around the world in the different BJJ gyms. But listen, people act like this white supremacy thing isn't a problem in jiu-jitsu too. You know what I'm saying? I've been posting like a month ago. I decided, hey, I'm gonna start just posting real shitty racist black belt shit. Like shit black belts have said that are done that was just horribly racist. And man, people got mad at me. They're like, this ain't really representative of jiu-jitsu. I'm like, man, listen, people are people, right? And when you have such a big demographic of the country doing this, you're gonna get your assholes, right? While I've met some of the absolute best people I'll ever meet in jiu-jitsu and fighting, I've also met some of the worst. And they're out there, and they're a part of our culture, and they need to be called out.
I'll never forget, like, the first episode that really got a lot of heat here was
Daddy Bravo joint. Daddy Bravo joint.
Oh my God. Yeah. Like, it wasn't even a thing where I was trying to get him canceled. I was just like, yo, this shit is corny. Like, we get so much shit as a team, and then you wonder why this man, Eddie Bravo, was in blackface for like a huge, long ass, it wasn't like a skit. The shit was like 10, 15 minutes. He was eating fried chicken, bro.
Listen, and what was worse about it is the stereotypes that he was trying to project, like that shit was more disrespectful than the blackface. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit wasn't cool at all. You know what I'm saying? And anybody that tries to, oh, well, it was a long time ago. It was comedy. Like, nah, that shit's not cool. It was never cool. Never cool. But people are going to make excuses for them. They'll never make excuses for.
Excuses is exactly what I found. So I found the swastika tattoo and an article on BJJ Tribes. And his gym has made a statement saying that, yes, Adam is a student of ours. And yes, Adam has a past and did some bad things, but that was in the past. And it says he has spent years covering up tattoos, starting with the most visible. So my question is, Adam, If you've been spending years covering up tattoos and you didn't start with the big ass swastika, what else did you have to cover?
And
Like,
so
what did you cover first before the swastika?
Let's even go bigger than that. If you were able to see it, then he evidently isn't too ashamed of it. You know what I'm saying? Because if I was ashamed of some shit like that, my ass wouldn't have short sleeves on ever.
It's on his stomach. It's like a kind of a tramp, like on
fat.
it, like a little bit below his ribs, like kind of on like the path down to heaven, but a little, but veered off the path down to heaven.
But he's fat, so you don't know where it started.
Yeah, but so here's the deal. Like, why wouldn't he have a rash guard on? Like, if he was really that ashamed of it, why wasn't he rocking a rash guard? You know what I mean? So, I mean, he's not that ashamed of it. If he allowed himself to be photographed with that shit, he ain't ashamed of it. Right?
I mean, hey, you can be blatantly racist and have a show on Flow Grappling. So, I mean, at the end of the day, you can say fucked up stuff. At the end of the day, it's about money.
No, definitely.
It's about money. Like, you can do whatever you want as long as you got the financial backing, or you can do whatever you want. Except I don't like playing those games, bro. And like you said, like, these guys, I feel like they hide behind the fact that they do jiu-jitsu, but they know deep down that if they had into a real fight or any kind of altercation, they're bullies, bro. But that's
for sure.
Whole nother story.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it fits right in, man. We have a lot of work to do. And our community is not free of this. And it bothers me. I got into an argument with a brown belt that was like, jiu-jitsu would make, like, I tagged you in the shit, right? He was like, if cops just did jiu-jitsu, we wouldn't have these problems. I'm like, word. So we're just going to give cops expert technique to choke motherfuckers out? And you think that, like, I know black belts that are shitbags. Like, jiu-jitsu, yes, it creates an environment where, for the most part, if you're in most schools, you're going to be around different ethnicities, different people, and maybe you'll grow a little bit as a person. But if you're a shitbag, jiu-jitsu is not going to just, like, fix your shitbagness. You know what I'm saying? Like,
makes you more of what you already are.
Yeah, 100%. Like, it's insane to me when people try to say, oh, all he needs is a little bit of jiu-jitsu and cops won't have this problem. No. We're gonna have this problem. They're just gonna be a lot better at it.
So, what's next for you and your guys? I mean, you guys are training down there.
I'm not announcing anything yet, just because I want to have a big announcement. We have one guy that's about to sign a good deal. He's been grinding for a while and deserves it. Been one of the top guys in the state for a while, and I'm super proud of him, man. Because he's, it's a struggle, man. Like, getting from the Chitlin circuit to the big show is not easy. It's not easy, and he deserves everything he's getting. So he's working hard, and we're going to be announcing that soon. I've got some killers right now, man. Like, I got some killers. And you've met most of them. Brandon, we just he's going pro now, and he's going to be signing to a show called Icon, which is a feeder. It's going to be a feeder just for the UFC. It's on UFC Fight Pass. He should be fighting before the end of the year. And he signed with First Round Management, which is John Jones, Masvidal, all those guys, straight out of amateurs, because he was undefeated amateur, never lost a round in the amateurs, obliterated everybody. Like, has had a pro style for a while, and he's one of those guys I've had since he was a kid, so I was able to mold him into what he's supposed to be. I didn't have to fix any problems. He came to me with a wrestling background, and everything from there we just built. He's a killer. Like, he's going to be one of those guys that gets 4 or 5 fights and gets signed. Like, he's good. I mean, we have a new slew of amateurs right now that we're about to put on the world, man. We've got some good guys, man. And what's great about where we're at is that it's not like I'm getting a bunch of guys from other schools that are coming over and transferring right before they get in a big show, like some of these other big camps do. No, we're building guys from the ground up. They're going to be showing my system and my style. And, to me, that's a little more fulfilling. When I've taken a guy from barely being able to walk in a straight line to being one of the top guys in the state and making it to a bigger show and, doing well there, that's what matters to me. I want to see these guys do way more than I did. And I've been in this game. Like, I hadn't retired yet officially. I'm probably going to do 1 or 2 more before I'm done. And I've had a 20-year pro career, and I want all these guys to do more than I did.
Beautiful, man. Where can we find you? Where can we find more pictures of you shooting up shit and talking about fighting the power?
Check me out on Instagram at Champion MUHSIN. Y'all probably don't want to follow my Facebook page because I do nothing but talk shit and start problems, but you can follow me on Facebook as well at MUHSIN CORBBREY. Just look up my name, MUHSIN, last name CORBBREY. Those are the big outlets I'm on, man. I'm all over YouTube and all that good stuff, but Instagram and Facebook is where I talk most of my shit.
Fantastic. Nico?
That's what's up. All right. Make sure you follow me at No New Nico on Instagram. Check out Favela Jiu-Jitsu. We have an official transfer date for the store. We shutting down the store Tuesday. I've had an official date and I forgot it. No, we shut down the store on Monday and we open it back up on October 27th, which is my birthday.
Well, guys, make sure you check out the sponsors, Perry Athletics, Layout Optics. You can find me at Tim Spriggs BJJ on Instagram or Facebook. You can also hit me up at timspriggsbjj.com to get a private lesson, some online coaching, maybe even have me out for a seminar because I will be in Savannah. I will be in Savannah November 14th.
November 14th.
All the dark arts of Mushmaster Jiu-Jitsu. And that's it. Oh, yeah, make sure you buy Mushmaster merch. Buy Favela Jiu-Jitsu merch. Make sure you follow MUHSIN CORBBREY, the technician. This has been the BJJ Goons podcast. Be proud, be powerful, be kind. We're out.
Peace.